Now, what are the properties exhibited by the nanoparticles that makes them so many attractive materials? That we have to see now. Okay, so up till now we have said several number of times that nanoparticles have the very peculiar properties. They have been used in various applications. But what are those peculiar properties of nanomaterials that makes them very suitable candidate or very appropriate candidate for every application? So there are two properties of the nanomaterials which you cannot find anywhere else. Okay, so first property is high surface to volume ratio. First property of the nanomaterial is the high surface to volume ratio, and the second property is called as quantum size effect. Second property which makes nanomaterial is a very different material is the quantum size effect. Okay, these are the two properties which are exhibited only by the nanomaterials or nanoparticles. Now let us understand the first property. What is meant by high surface to volume ratio? Okay, high surface to volume ratio means what? If you obtain the ratio of surface by volume, you will get very high value. You will get very high value. Now let us understand this with one example. Okay, now suppose that you have a cube. You have a cube with a dimension or with a length of 1 meter. Okay, so this is the cube whose length is 1 meter, whose breadth is 1 meter, and whose height is 1 meter. Now you obtain the surface and volume ratio. Okay, you obtain the surface and volume ratio. What will be the surface area? 1 into 1 meter. Okay, 1 into 1 meter means what? That will be 1 only. So okay, I will write over here surface to volume ratio. Surface will be 1 meter square and volume will be 1 meter cube. Volume will be 1 meter cube. So this meter square gets cancelled. So it will be 1. Surface ratio of this surface to volume will be 1 only. Now you consider the another cube. You consider another cube which has now a dimensions of the order of nanometer. 10 raised to minus 9 meters length, 10 raised to power minus 9 meters breadth, and 10 raised to power minus 9 meter height. Okay, length, breadth and height, whatever. Okay, all the three dimensions are in the nano range. Now you obtain the ratio of surface to volume. Okay, what will be surface? 10 raised to minus 9 and 10 raised to minus 9. 10 raised to minus 9 into 10 raised to minus 9 meter square, and here 10 raised to minus 9 into 10 raised to power minus 9 into 10 raised to power minus 9 meter cube. So this 10 raised to power minus 9 gets cancelled. Meter square gets cancelled with the meter cube, and what will be the final answer? It will be, if you see only the number, it is 10 raised to 9. Earlier it was 1. If the size of the cube is of the order of meters, okay, that is a bulk particle, the ratio is 1. Surface to volume ratio is 1. That is true for all the particles, bigger particles or the bulk particles which we normally use for our day-to-day life. But if you use the nanoparticles, then its surface to volume ratio is of the order of 10 raised to power 9 meters. Okay, is of the order of 10 raised to power 9. We have to see only the number. Now even if you make this in the centimeters, suppose it is in the centimeters, okay, it is in the centimeters, then what will be the case? Here it will be the per centimeter. Per centimeter means what? 10 raised to power minus 2 meter, and it will go. So it will be 2, 10 raised to 2 only. Okay, even if it is in the micrometer range, then also you will see that this unit cell which is in the nano range its surface to volume ratio is very very high. Okay, so all the nanoparticles, all the materials will have very high surface to volume ratio, and because of this it will exhibit the properties which are very very different, which are very very advantageous as compared to the bulk materials. Now if the surface to volume ratio is very very high, how this high ratio will make the particle very very different? Okay, so you understand what is the meaning of this high surface to volume ratio. Whenever we say that high surface to volume ratio, it means that all the particles, all the molecules are on the surface than inside the volume. Okay, means what? If there is a nanomaterial, if this is a unit cell of nanomaterial, or if this is a particle of nanomaterial, it will have all the molecules, on the surface. Suppose that this is only one unit cell, of nanoparticle, then this is a cubical unit cell. You see that all the particles will be on the edges of the cube. So if you see the environment surrounding this particular unit cell, you will see that this environment knows that there is this particle. What is the meaning actually? Whenever a particle is having very high surface to volume ratio, we have to understand that it's all the atoms, or it's all the molecules are exposed. They are exposed to the surrounding. They can interact with the surrounding. So the properties, whatever properties we are studying, that properties will be very enhanced. Instead of that, if you compare the bulk particle, okay, which with this much amount of size, so bulk particle unit cell will look like this. Not unit cell actually, the particle size itself. Okay, so it will be having some atoms on the surface, no doubt. It will be having, you see, if you consider this particular duster, which is a bulk material, okay, then how many atoms are exposed to the surrounding now? Only upper layer of this thing, they are exposed to the surrounding. These atoms or these molecules are exposed to the surrounding. The atoms which are on this particular side, upper layer, they are also exposed to the surrounding. These atoms are also exposed to the surrounding. These atoms are also exposed to the surrounding. But you see, the number of atoms which are exposed to the surrounding are less as compared to the actual number of atoms inside these dusters. Okay, because these dusters, you see that there are so many atoms inside the duster also, so they are not interacting with the surrounding, so the properties will not be enhanced. If this duster would have been of the nano material, or it would have been in the nano range, okay, in that case we could not see that particular duster. Okay, so what will happen? All the particles will be exposed to the surrounding. And they can show very highest amount of interaction. The best example or best application of this particular high surface to volume ratio can be seen in the making of nano catalyst. In chemistry, you very well understand what is the application of the catalyst. Catalyst is the material which is used to accelerate particular reaction. Now if you make the catalyst with the help of nanoparticle, then what will happen? You can make the thin film of the catalyst. So in order to obtain the thin film of the catalyst, you require very less amount of material first of all. Okay, and when you use the less amount of material, means first thing is that you have to use very less amount of material. That is one advantage. Another is that whatever small quantity of the material you are using, all these materials are exposed to the surrounding, so the reactivity will get enhanced. That particular property will get enhanced. So nanoparticles are having very peculiar properties only because of this very high surface to volume ratio. We require very less amount of material for doing any particular activity, so that is one of the advantage. The another property which is exhibited by the nanoparticle or nanomaterial is quantum size effect. Now what is this quantum size effect? If you have the bulk material, for example the bulk material of ZNO, okay, which is not in the nano range. Okay, now if you see the bulk material of the ZNO, how the bulk material is formed, just now we have seen the process. Actually there is a single molecule, okay, this single molecule come together and they will create some unit cell, okay, they will create some unit cell, and after that there will be formation of, there will be the aggregation of so many unit cell, there will be the aggregation of so many unit cell, and you will get the bigger particle. Now whenever we get the bigger particle and we understand the band gap of the bigger particle, how the band gap is represented, if you have studied the semiconductor, you must have studied that there is a band which is called as valence band, there is a band which is called as a conduction band. This is about the bulk particle, okay, bulk materials. Normally any material can have valence band and conduction band. If the gap between valence band and conduction band is 0, then that materials are called as a metals. If there is some band gap between conduction band and valence band, the lowest energy and the lowest energy of the conduction band and the highest energy of the valence band, the difference between these two is called as a band gap. So for metal this band gap is nearly 0. For semiconductor this band gap is up to order of maximum it is 3 etc. Okay, 3 electron volts, and if it is an insulator then this band gap is very very huge, of the order of 6 electron volts and so on. Okay, now whenever we say that there is a valence band consists of so many energy levels. Conduction band also consists of so many energy levels. These are the excited energy levels, these are the ground state energy levels of different atoms or molecules. So you see, whenever there is a formation of bulk crystals, the each energy level which is associated with individual molecule or individual atom, they are mixed together, and one band is formed. All the excited states energy levels of individual atoms or individual molecules, they are also mixed together, and a band of conduction is formed, that is called as a conduction band, that is called as a valence band. Okay, and the another phenomena which is called as the energy gap, that is also introduced within the bulk material, okay, which is represented by Eg. Now this is a collective phenomena, this is after the interaction of all the atoms, all the molecules. But when the size of the material is reduced, reduced, what you will get actually? You will left with fewer number of atoms and molecules. You see, whenever there is a bulk material, you have lakhs of molecules, crores of molecules, billions of molecules, more than billions of molecules, okay, at small area, and they will be forming this structure. But if you have a nanoparticle, then that nanoparticle may have some 100 of atoms, may have some 100 of molecules, 50 molecules, 200 molecules, at the most 1000 molecules or atoms. Okay, now if you have these many atoms only, then in that case the interaction of the energy levels of individual atoms will not be much more. Okay, means suppose that there are so many atoms, means at the most 100 or 1000 for example. Okay, in the nanomaterial there are 100 or 1000 atoms. Let us consider that only there exist 100 atoms. Then what? These 100 atoms will not be interacting much with each other. Okay, so there will not be much interaction between these atoms, and you will not get the band structure like this. Okay, out of that, means instead of getting the band structure, you will get something different energy structure. Or you can say that in the nano regime we don't have to bother about collective energy levels of the particle. Okay, in that particle the energy level will be associated with individual atom or individual molecule itself, and when the energy levels are associated with the individual atom or individual molecule, they are well separated. Okay, so that the energy levels of this atom or molecule, means even if we say that there is some interaction of molecules or atoms, they will form the energy level pattern, and that energy level pattern will not be like the pattern indicated over here. their energy level pattern in the nano regime will be somewhat related to the energy levels of atoms or molecule itself. Okay, and the energy levels associated with the atoms or molecule will be well defined, there will not be mixing of energy levels. Okay, all the energy levels will be well defined, and when all the energy levels will be well defined, the electrons in the outermost orbit sometimes can jump from this layer to this layer, this level to this level, this level to this level. Okay, means electron can make separate jumps while absorbing different energies, and again the separation between these energy levels changes if you change the dimension of the nanoparticle. If you change the dimension of the nanoparticle, means what I want to convince you is that in the nanoscale the energy levels are size dependent. In the nanoscale, first of all, the energy levels are not like the band structure. Okay, the energy levels are resembling like the atomic energy levels or the molecular energy level, and again the energy level pattern will depend on the size of the nanoparticle. If you reduce the size of the nanoparticle, you will find that the separation between the energy level increases. If you increase the size of the nanoparticle, you will find that the separation of the energy level decreases. Okay, so the separation or the energy gap, not the band gap, okay, the energy gap in the nanoparticle depends on the size, and normally it increases with the decrease in the size of the nanoparticle. This is called as a blue shifting of energy levels. Blue shifting of energy levels. Why I am calling it as a blue shifting? Because once the size of the particle is reduced, the energy level separation will increase. Okay, energy level separation will increase means what? Its energy gap is increasing, and energy gap is equals to h into nu. Energy gap is equal to h into nu. So if energy is increasing, the frequency is also increasing. Whatever frequency it will emit after jumping from excited state to the ground state, that will correspond to the higher frequency. And higher frequency means what? It is shifting towards the blue end. And therefore initially I had cited the example of ZNO. Okay, the bulk ZNO is having the energy gap of band energy gap of nearly 1.8 electron volts. Okay, and normally it is having the gap of 1.8 electron volt. But if you make the nanoparticle of zinc oxide, okay, its band gap may reach up to the value of 3.5 electron volt. So you see, this band gap will be in the ultraviolet range, and this band gap will be in the visible range. Okay, so this much difference. Whatever different colors of gold nanoparticles you see, that is only because of this. Whenever you make the quantum dots of gold nanoparticles or the silver nanoparticle, the size of the quantum particle will be less, and therefore the energy levels will be very well separated. They will be like just the energy levels of the individual atoms. Okay, and whenever the electron makes transition from one level to the another level, depending on the size, the energy level will be fixed. So depending on the size, the color of the particle will be fixed. Color of that particular gold material will be fixed. So for the size of 10 nanometers of gold nanoparticle, for the size of 10 nanoparticle, you may get the red color. For the size of 5 nanometer, you may get the blue color. Sometimes for the size of 7 nanometer, you may get the yellow color. Okay, so you see, the color is shifting towards the blue end. As the size is decreasing, the color is shifting towards the blue end. So these are the peculiar properties of the nanoparticles. One is the high surface to volume ratio, that can be used for different application, and another is the quantum size effect, that depending on the size you will get the different energy levels. Normally it shifts towards the blue end by decreasing the size of the nanoparticles. Okay, so these are the two properties by which nanoparticles are having very fascinating applications in different areas. Okay, so this is about the properties of the nanoparticle. And applications I had already explained, applications of the nanoparticles. There are the applications of the nanoparticles in the energy sectors. In electronics also we use the nanoparticles. Just now I have explained the application of nanoparticle in the processors. Okay, in automobile sectors also they are used. We can use the turbo oil. Okay, some nano dots are introduced in the oil, engine oil, so that the efficiency of the engine will increase. So that can be done. This engine materials, okay, we can manufacture engine materials with the doping of some nanoparticles. We can make some composites of that nanoparticles, okay, and we can have excellent properties. In textiles also, just now I have said you that there exist non-dust paints, okay, non-stick tawas, okay, non-dust fans, electric fans. There exist clothes also, okay. In the manufacturing of clothes also we can have the doping of different nanoparticles, okay. You can prepare or you can fabricate the clothes on which the dust do not stick, okay. So they are called as the anti-dust clothes, okay. You can fabricate the clothes which are not to be washed, okay. They are called as a hydrophobic clothes. Hydrophobic clothes means what? Water molecule will not stick on the surface of the cloth, means you don't need to wash that particular cloth. Once you purchase, you wear it for forever, okay. So in the textile fields also the nanomaterials are used. Nanomaterials are also used in the toys and sports. They are used in the cosmetics, just now I have explained. In medical fields also nanomaterials are being used to kill the cancer cells, okay. To target, you can have the nanomedicine which can go inside the body and it can reach to the affected area only, means where the medicine is required, you can send the nanomaterial within that particular target, okay, so that the side effects of that particular medicine will not be there for the whole body, okay. So that type of medicine you can use. In space technologies also you can use the nanotechnology. Yes, you are using it actually for making the solar cells, for making the another devices also you use the nanotechnology. And there are so many material applications also, applications of the carbon nanotube that I have explained, okay. So this is very short portion of the nanotechnology in this particular unit. I had already told you that the synthesis techniques and other techniques which are being used by the scientific community, they are not that is not the part of this particular unit. So this is the only introductory part of nanotechnology which has to be covered in this particular unit, and this is very interesting actually. Once you read it, you will get the full interest and you can remember everything inside this particular topic, okay. So this ends our this particular unit. Thank you very much.